ChatGPT. You've provided a Python Flask application that serves a web interface for visualizing and converting EEG data into music. The application has several key components. Routes. There are Flask routes for showing the main page, fetching EEG data, get EEG data, and converting EEG data to MIDI numbers, convert EEG to music. Data handling. The load_data function reads EEG data from a text file, processes it, and returns it in a format suitable for visualization and further processing. The EEG data is scaled to fit within a specific time frame and sampling frequency. EEG to music conversion. The scale_EEG_to_MIDI function scales EEG frequencies to MIDI numbers within a defined range, allowing for the conversion of EEG data into musical notes. MIDI conversion. The frequency_to_MIDI_number function converts a given frequency to its corresponding MIDI number, based on a logarithmic scale. This code integrates data processing, web sewing, and musical conversion to create an interactive experience where users can visualize and listen to EEG data translated into music. If you have any specific questions about this code or need assistance with modifications or debugging, feel free to ask. Notes are played when play MIDI button is pressed. However, the notes are not played when scroll bar is moved. It appears that the functionality to play notes when the scroll bar is moved, via the update data function, is not explicitly implemented in the code you provided. The play sequence function is only called within the convert EEG to music function, which is not directly linked to the scroll bar's movement. To enable the playing of notes when the scroll bar is moved, you need to modify the update data function to include a call to convert EEG to music and subsequently play the sequence of MIDI numbers returned from this conversion. Here's an approach you could take. Modify update data function. Call convert EEG to music inside update data. After fetching the EEG data and updating the chart, convert this data to music and play it. Adjust convert EEG to music function. Ensure the convert EEG to music returns MIDI numbers. Use these MIDI numbers to play the sequence. Here's an example of how you might modify the update data function. JavaScript. Copy code function update data. Existing code to update the slider, channel selector, and window size. Fetch EEG data, current start, current count, current channel, then EEG data equals greater than, if, EEG data. Plot EEG data, EEG data. Convert EEG data to MIDI numbers and play. Convert EEG to music, current start, current count, current channel, then MIDI data equals greater than, if, MIDI data and then MIDI data, MIDI numbers. Play sequence, MIDI data, MIDI numbers.
Okay, so we're having this Flask application. Currently looks like this. Now we're meant to be playing, turning this EEG into sound. Just select a smaller window size for testing. So this button is currently used for testing if the musical notes are working at all. So all these notes are being played. But it should also be playing notes when scrolling through the EEG. So we told about the bot that the notes are played okay when play MIDI button is pressed. This is the reference name for this button. However, no notes are played when we scrolling through the EEG file, which is kinda unusual. So we're trying to fix that. So the bot gives us a few suggestions. One of them is in update data function. So we leave the existing code as is. Then we have this fetch EEG data. We have EEG data, plot EEG data. Where's this function? Does it mean we remove that? So make convert EG to music structure to work with promises since it involves a fetch request. So I assume we're removing that. Essentially that will be happening every time we fetch a new data. So let's comment that out. This bit actually goes into this if statement. So if we have new EEG data, we plot the data and also convert EEG data to MIDI numbers and play the sequence. Now we also need to make sure that the actual function convert EEG to music is structured to work with promises. To know what promises is. Convert EEG to music. We have those inputs, start, count, channel. That should be fine. What was changed here? Responsive, response okay. Throw an arrow, return response JSON. Right, so we want to change so we did change MIDI notes into MIDI numbers. Might as well just change the whole function. Because we had some trouble with the notation of the nodes. So we replaced them by associated numbers. There's some sort of equation to do that. See if it changed anything. So restart the page. Yeah, let's leave the window size as it is. This is for testing, so that still works. Just should play the 4 or 5 notes. That's fine. And when we fetch new data, we don't hear anything. Piano loaded, okay. Yeah, we had this error before. It shouldn't actually affect the output. Let's try this again. It's actually sending commands to the server. It's doing it too many times, but that's okay. It should still play something. I changed the code as per suggestions. The play EEG music button still works okay, but when scrolling through the EEG or loading different EEG data, there is nothing being played. No music is being played. Yep.
In the update data function, ensure that after fetching the EEG data, you're calling convert EEG to music and then play sequence with the MIDI numbers returned from the conversion. The sequence of these calls is crucial. Add console.log statements at different points in the update data, convert EEG to music, then play sequence functions to verify if they're being called and if the data is being passed correctly. For example,
With the variables, then fetch EEG data. Do now console log, convert EEG to music, show the MIDI numbers.
ensure that the convert EEG to music function is correctly implemented and returning the expected MIDI numbers. Also, check that the server-side implementation of this route is working correctly.
Check the server side in a sec. So piano loaded okay. Data. Let's clear this for a sec. It's too much to clear console. Let's do Windows size of 10, and this should already call all these functions as well. EEG data fetched. EEG data is okay. Where are median numbers? Don't see the median numbers.
Confirm that play sequence is set up to handle the MIDI numbers correctly. If there are conditions or checks that might prevent playback, such as checking if the piano is loaded or if the MIDI numbers are valid, ensure these conditions are met or handled appropriately. Ensure that the Web Audio API's audio context state is active. Sometimes, browsers require user interaction to resume the audio context if it's in a suspended state.
Okay, so how do we troubleshoot the whole thing? How to fix the code? There is nothing, no notes are being played when scrolling through the EEG data. I'm also getting there's also no MIDI numbers in console.
Given that no MIDI numbers are being logged to the console when scrolling through the EEG data, it suggests that the issue may lie within the convert EEG to music function call or its subsequent handling of the response. Let's troubleshoot this step by step. First, verify the convert EEG to music is being called as expected in the update data function. Add a console.log statement before its call to confirm.
The nice troubleshooting. Piano loaded. Okay, so this works okay. Now also in the function as well, I'm doing fetch URL, response is okay. returning JSON. When then data console log. Let's read the rest quickly.
Chat GPT. Given ensure that the server-side convert EEG to music route is working as expected. Check for any errors or issues in the server logs. Verify that the route is processing the EEG data correctly and returning the MIDI numbers.
The MIDI numbers are there. Still can't hear anything.
The response from Convert EEG to music shows that it is successfully returning an array of MIDI numbers, which is good. However, the issue seems to be in how these numbers are being handled in the subsequent code. Let's make sure the MIDI numbers are being correctly passed to the play sequence function and that the function is set up to play them properly. In your update data function, the MIDI data object is being passed to play sequence. Make sure you're passing the MIDI numbers property of this object, not the entire MIDI data object. Modify the convert EEG to music, then chain in update data like this.
What I'm doing already. Right, so instead of MIDI numbers, taking taking the object MIDI numbers from MIDI data.
Ensure that the play sequence function is correctly iterating over the MIDI numbers and playing each one. Check the if condition inside the play next note function to ensure it's correct.
to see the MIDI numbers.
Ensure that the play sequence function is correctly iterating over the MIDI numbers and playing each one. Check the if condition inside the play next note function to ensure it's correct. Verify that the piano instrument is loaded, piano ready is true, and that the audio context is in a state where it can play sound, audio context, state is not suspended. The browser might have restrictions on playing audio without user interaction, which might be why it works with a button click but not on scroll.
Changing the channel now, or yeah, when loading a different EG segment, get the following. Well, first, I can't hear anything. Second, we should be getting the MIDI numbers as an output. So this is not happening there. Set response from we have this in the code, yes. It's just by line 1 to 1. Yeah, so the MIDI numbers are there, they're not being played. It's this prototype array thing. So everything seemed to be working fine. So convert EG to music, functions being called, successfully returns the MIDI numbers.
Let's ensure that the play sequence function is iterating over the MIDI numbers correctly. Add more console.log statements to check the flow.
Do more troubleshooting. So play sequence function. Resume audio context, something to do with the browser timing out or not playing anymore, so I have to do that. MIDI numbers, is the right MIDI numbers. Yep, we already have that index. Doing more console logging. Do another login here. If window piano ready, play MIDI number. Have a timeout. What else do we need to check?
The timing in the set timeout function within play next node is crucial. If there's a significant delay, it might not match the scrolling action. You might need to adjust this timing to make it more responsive.
Should be fine, that's milliseconds, isn't it?
Since the button press successfully plays the notes, it indicates that the audio context is likely in a correct state. However, double-check the state of the audio context when scrolling. It's possible that the audio context is not being resumed properly in certain scenarios.
Let's test this properly. That's working okay. Piano is loaded. Let's do updating data. Calling convert EG music. Getting response conversion successful. This MIDI numbers. Yeah, there's something wrong. Should be a simple fix. Don't know why it's this being printed twice, but okay. So we have updated data, EG calling conversion, EG data fetched, conversion successful. Okay. Let's put all this. Problem with the code. Yeah, we won't prompt it with anything else, just leave it as is, see if it picks up on the error. Yeah, it does have the context and everything.
The log messages indicate that the update data function is being called, the EEG data is fetched successfully, and the convert EEG to music function returns MIDI numbers correctly. However, it seems the play sequence function is not playing the notes as expected. Let's troubleshoot this further. Since the piano plays when you press the button, the issue likely isn't with the audio context or the piano loading. However, it's still worth ensuring that the audio context state is active when play sequence is called. Add a log to check the state.
Okay, so in play sequence, do another console log.
Ensure that piano ready is true when play sequence is called. This will confirm that the piano is loaded and ready to play notes.
Okay.
Ensure that the MIDI numbers array is not empty and contains valid MIDI numbers when passed to play sequence. Open the browser's console and look for any errors that might be occurring when play sequence is called. This can give clues if there's an issue with playing the audio or with the MIDI numbers. As a test, try calling play sequence with a static array of MIDI numbers to see if it plays.
This sounds like a crucial test. Let's do it. Should do it instead. Yeah, let's do it instead quickly. Still doing something. Don't know what's happening twice. Clear console. Let's do a window of 10. HE fetched. Conversion successful. The numbers are there. All working. Okay, I don't know what the problem is.
The log messages show that the convert EEG to music function is working as expected, and the play sequence function is being called with the correct MIDI numbers. Since play EEG music button works correctly, but the MIDI numbers are not played when scrolling or updating the EEG data, we need to focus on the specific conditions under which play sequence is invoked. The audio context state must be active when play sequence is called. If the state is suspended, the audio won't play. Ensure resume audio context effectively resumes the audio context. Some browsers prevent audio from playing without direct user interaction. This might explain why audio plays when clicking a button, but not when the data is updated via scrolling. Test this by adding a user interaction step before playing the MIDI numbers when scrolling. Ensure that play sequence is called only after the piano is fully loaded and ready. There can be a timing issue where play sequence is called before the piano is fully prepared. Add more debugging logs in the play sequence function. As a test, modify the update data function to call play sequence with a static array of MIDI numbers, just like you did with the button click event. This will help determine if the issue is with the MIDI numbers or the event triggering the function.
Okay, let's just play this in update data. Just as a test. We have resume audio context. Right, so that works. But this one works okay, but this function is not being executed. Let's try this again. If we remove this, piano loaded with all notes. So play sequence function works fine. So the second play sequence works, but not the first one. The second play sequence function call works, but not the first one.
The fact that the second play sequence called in update data works, but the first one inside that, then, chain of convert EEG to music suggests an issue with either the timing of the function call or the data is being passed. The play sequence function inside that, then, chain is called asynchronously after the data is fetched and converted. If there's a delay in fetching or processing the EEG data, it could affect when the music starts playing. The MIDI numbers received from convert EEG to music might not be correct or in the expected format. Since static MIDI numbers work, the issue likely lies with the data returned from convert EEG to music.
Well, no, because in here we're just trying to... Wait a second. I think it didn't understand the context. Let's change this prompt. The line works outside the if EEG data loop. So I'm pretty sure it will actually work. So if EEG data, let's pop it in there. Pretty sure this will work as well. So piano loaded, okay. The test is working fine. Changing the window size. So that's playing, but not after the conversion. So play sequence. What's the problem with this? Having a problem with this bit. What's trophy? It's trophy.
The condition if MIDI data and then MIDI data, MIDI numbers, in your code checks if MIDI data is not null or undefined and also if MIDI data, MIDI numbers is truthy. This is a standard way to ensure that the data structure contains the expected properties before accessing them. However, the fact that the play sequence function works when called with static MIDI numbers, but not with the MIDI numbers from convert EEG to music suggests a few possibilities.
Let's have... Oh, come on. Just one of those. Yeah, see you next time.